lot of times it is a parent that is comforting the child, the relationship, and kind of helping them through because they have the experience and knowledge. In your situation, it's your father in reverse, which is not the natural order of things normally. What has that been like, and what have you been able to do for your father, if anything, through this period?
Yeah, look, obviously, what happens in Indy, and I'm just as much of a fan and a spectator, but obviously when family's involved, right, you gotta understand it from both sides. And I feel like from every step of the way, since I started racing for the team in 2018, I feel like between myself, my pops, and Roger, and most involved, I feel like we've done a pretty good job at separating personal life and professional life, and I see this as no different. Racing can be a cool industry. It can be an incredibly rewarding industry, and past that, it's not something that I have weighing on me heavily for this weekend. And for my pops, I love my dad, and that's kind of about all I have to say on it.
The other driver said that Roger met with everybody, and again, that's a challenging situation for anybody, but because of your situation, I don't know if surreal is the right word to be sitting in that type of a meeting, but what was that like for you, even though you're trying to separate personal and professional, but they're coming together at once for you?
Yeah, I mean, Roger's a class act, right? I mean, that's why he has the reputation that he has, and he's worked so hard to build. And he didn't just talk to the drivers; he talked to every employee in the building, and obviously he's had to talk to a lot of folks all week. So his time is pretty precious, especially this point in the year, and this month and this week, and whether you have the situation or not, he's still a busy guy, and but he recognizes how important all the people involved are, and obviously there's so many that work so hard to have the success that we have as a race team. So it doesn't surprise me in the least.
You obviously earned your ride. You worked very hard to have it, despite the fact that Cindric is your last name. And, that was harder for you, I think, in a way, because you were trying to craft your own way into it and not ride the coattails of your dad. Does this affect you at all in your job, do you feel? Or do you feel like, hey, I earned my place and, I'm Austin?
No, I mean, professionally, I'm in a no different place than I was a week ago. I feel like we have a lot of momentum on our team right now in the 2-car. I've never felt better. I've never had a better start to a season. So, for me, I'm just more focused on execution, really. I feel like we've had some really fast race cars and some good opportunities. So I'm not really, the interesting thing for me about my first 3 years in Cup was the first time I actually was in meetings with my dad.
Uh-huh.
And that ended at the beginning of this year. And, so I feel like there really is only a personal connection to any of the news from this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't affect your status in one way or another with the team. You still have a contract going forward like that. It's still where you're going to be.
Correct.
You mentioned your fandom of the Indy 500 and just how significant this race is to you personally. Has that made this week any more challenging for you, on top of the personal connection you've had to everything else?
Maybe it makes it different. Last year was also a little different as well. But past that, it's still a race that I love. It's still a race that my family has a deep history in, and I can tell you I'm going to get here nice and early on Sunday and make sure I get a good place to watch the race.
What do you have to do for Sunday to turn Sunday into a win?
600 miles. And I know that's a bit of a smart-ass answer, but it is my only goal for the weekend. And I really, truly mean that, because we had a tire failure in the first race I did here, and I put myself in the wall the second one, and we got rained out the third one. So I've yet to do all 600 miles, and I feel like that's important. I mentioned earlier that I feel like execution has been the last little bit for us to really get to the next level as a group. But I feel like the cream rises to the top. Everyone goes through adversity at some point in this race, and I think that if we're good enough with our race car, 600 miles is enough for us to shake out towards the front.